Hello and welcome to Everyday People. Dr. Abhinav Singh, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, Vaibhav. How about you?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for asking. I'll start off with my standard first question that I ask every guest. Who are you? What do you do? And what is your current side project?
So, my name is Abhinav Singh. I'm a sleep physician. I help people who have sleep problems. I'm a practicing physician in the United States in a city called Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also the medical director of the Indiana Sleep Center. I work with the NBA and a team called the Indiana Pacers, the National Basketball Association. I love what I do, and my side project is right here in front of me, my current side project.
Wonderful. Tell me more about it.
Yeah, so, and if I have to give my side project a name, it would be 360 degrees of sleep awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I can sum it up in one line. And that essentially implies that everyone around me and around you should be having a conversation with themselves about their sleep and sleep in general. Because remember, it's a third of your life. And if it's not in the right quantity and quality, the other two thirds are not going to be where you expect them to be. So that's my lifelong side project to educate everyone who I interact with as much as possible about sleep and its importance and help them if they have sleep issues.
I should point out that for audio listeners, Dr. Abhinav raised up his book, Sleep to Heal, and we'll be talking more about it in a bit. But before I get to that, I wanted to ask you why this particular field of study? What prompted you to, first of all, enter the medical field? Secondly, why sleep in particular?
Yes, so medical field goes back to 1996 in Mumbai, India. I
Mm-hmm.
had finished my high school or 12th standard, and I was looking like every kid does, what next? So, not really had made up my mind. My father retired as an engineer, so all my life I was planning to be and thinking that I am an engineer, and he worked for the Indian Railways. After that, I in fact had applied for all colleges, and it so happened that the counseling or the medical admissions happened to be about 3 weeks after the engineering admission. So actually, in all honesty, I was admitted to an engineering college in Bombay. I had started 1 week of engineering college, and then the counseling happened for the medicine side of things. And my dad said one thing, like, look, I'm an engineer. I love what I do, but there is no medical professional in the family, and why don't you consider medicine if given an opportunity? You've already taken the test. And I said, fine. And he gave me this philosophy of, for if you're an engineer, you'd always be working for someone. Remember, this is the 90s in India. And if you're a medical professional, you can actually, you work for yourself, you can help a lot of people, and there's a lot of gratitude in the field, all of this philosophy. And you know what it came down to? My engineering college from where I lived in Mumbai was about two train changes away.
Mm-hmm.
And the medical college that I was getting admissions to was one
One
train,
train.
and it was 20 minutes away from home. So this was, Nair Medical College in Bombay Central, and we lived in South Bombay, Colaba, 25 minutes. So I said, this is awesome. So, so not know, and I look back and I laugh and said that was the basis of my decision. Like, this is close to home, and there were a lot of more fun people that I stood in line with when we were waiting for our turn for the counseling. And the engineering class had, to be honest, very heavily skewed in favor of boys. It was not a 50-50 split. Like, what is
Right.
happening? Where is the rest of the class? So to be honest, that's where prompted my admissions to medicine, and it was fun after that. And then I finished medical college early 2000s, and was looking to do higher studies. And my sister, who was already here in Chicago, said, "Why don't you come over here? You don't know what you want to do. You've always been the sort of the wanderer in life. So come over here and find yourself." Everybody finds their soul, and what they want to do in life in the U.S. So I got to Chicago, and started studying public health because I was very impressed and moved by the idea of population health. Because as a physician, you can take care of 1, 2, 5, 10, 30 patients in a day. But what about communities? What about populations? How do you
Right.
improve that health, right? And and so public health and preventive medicine attracted me. And it so happened by accident that the scholarship that I received for studying this how was housed in the Department of Sleep Research.
Right.
So, to answer your question in two lines, I didn't choose sleep. Sleep chose me by offering this scholarship, and basically my graduate education got paid for by sleep research. And I learned all about sleep that I had no idea. We were never taught this. Even in medical colleges, it's very little in terms of knowledge. And that's when this whole idea of public health and sleep merged. If you don't sleep well, all your health is poor. Literally, I can name every aspect of your health that will suffer with poor sleep. And there have been enough science. And that's how my 360 degrees of sleep awareness also comes into play that can improve population health. So here I am, happy, go, lucky, and sleep chose me is the right answer to your question.
I love how like the primary decision was one train versus two trains, and then of course like these little decisions that change the course of your life, and now you've been a professional for over 20 years, almost 20 years.
Yeah, 21. So if I count the day, I came here right after Independence Day in August of 2002. I sit before you 21 years later and some months, still having not left the field. I had no clue that I'm going to still do this. This was just a means to pay for my public health degree.
Of
That's all it
course.
was.
So why what kept you in it? I mean, of course you mentioned that it's a third of your life, and
Yeah.
that you wanted to attract like the not attract, sorry, you wanted to work on the community aspect of it. um, Given that you've spent 21 years in this field, do you think that sleep is by and large the most important aspect of our health that we should be looking at?
Yes, and I can answer that in two different ways. Two simple lines. People keep talking about. Finally, they've been talking about the trinity of health. They keep calling, right. They keep calling the three pillars of health. What are they? Nutrition. We've done a whole lot of research about nutrition in the last 50, 70 years. Then they talk about exercise, right? So you have zillions of exercise regimens and things and protocols. And then they say sleep. They've added sleep to it. Very gingerly, they've added sleep to it in the last decade plus, right? However, I feel kind of against, not against, but differently. So I feel sleep is sort of your foundation.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't sleep well, okay, here, Vaibhav, I give you a scenario. Let's say I give you the best nutrition plan there is in the world, okay? I give you the best exercise personal trainer there is in the world. But I give you the most crummiest sleep hours. Do you think that that best nutrition and exercise plan will yield its maximum benefit in the setting of horrible sleep?
Not at all.
Correct. So to group it together, I feel is unfair or injustice. Maybe I'm biased after 21 years, but but sleep is truly, I feel, the foundation on which health builds. So 100% true. I feel it is probably the single most thing. And guess what? It's much cheaper than health, nutrition consultations. It's much cheaper than exercise routines and regimens, right? That you go to gyms. So if all of us did a little bit for our sleep, it will do a lot in return for us and our health.
So this brings me to your book, Sleep to Heal. Um, Tell me more about like why now? Why have you waited so long to write a book, or what was? I guess my question is, how did the timing uh, line up for you to put your effort into writing a book? Now, I myself am a writer, professional writer,
Yeah.
and
So
so
congratulations.
thank you. So to me, it's the most interesting thing to be able to have written a book, and you're a qualified author now. So tell me, what lined up the timing for you now?
So I never planned to write a book, right? As a medical career is busy in itself, right? I have a lovely wife and a very demanding but wonderful daughter. She pushes us to the limit. So our hands are full, and living in the US itself, keeps you busy in general, and where do I find time between all these to actually keep the mind still to write a book? So I didn't. So the book happened because patients, as I was treating them in the last decade or so, they kept asking, oh, you have all these analogies, all these similarities, how you explain or break down how sleep is affecting my health. Oh, wow, you should write a book. You should write a book. And then I would tell people to read this, read that, read that. Then they kept asking, where is your book? I said, I don't have one. And I got tired of basically saying, I don't have one. And I said, because how it is everyone experiences sleep and its impact a little differently, right? Everyone needs it, from animals. Every animal living creature needs wake and rest, sleep and wake. And if it's a plumber, a scientist, a researcher, an author, an entrepreneur, a techie, everybody will pilot, they'll experience sleep differently. And for me to use analogies from their world to see how their world gets impacted with poor sleep, health, and their professional life was how I was generating all these created scenarios, and said, wait a minute, this could be useful, because if we put it into a language that anyone can read, don't have to be a sleep scientist or know deep details about this, like break it down. And we should do this. So that's how that started getting born. The idea started taking fruit. And then I had a good friend who is a writer. We got together. I also started to experience a lot of media requests. Can you comment on this? Can you comment on this diet, this machine, this sleep, this snoring, sleepiness? I said, and I kept answering these questions to media. I said, wait a minute, that's what people want to know about. So then we have to put all this together. We've already done the work. It's just sort of compiling my patient experiences and how their lives changed. The biggest thing was how they changed so much by improving their sleep was always heartwarming and keeps me coming back to clinic. So we put it together, and then the pandemic happened, right? The gift of our lives, I call it, the opportunity of our lives to reinvent, introspect, and see what really matters to us. And that's how I continued and finished the project, and got a publisher, got an agent. You know the drill. It's kind of hard work, putting pen to paper, and then just sharing what I've learned so that more people can benefit by understanding about sleep.
So how long did that take you in total to put the book together?
I want to say from putting down the first Google shared doc, right, to write the first keystrokes to the Amazon date, like the published drop date was in June, but I was done 6 months before that. I want to say a year and a half.
Wow.
A year and a half. Yeah, it has 13 chapters. And somewhere along the way, an event called Lilly X happened. Lilly X is an Eli Lilly, if you've heard of the company.
Yes.
The giant pharmaceutical company. It's housed 10 miles north of where I'm seated right now in the city of Indianapolis. They invited me for their TEDx event, which was a formerly TEDx location, to talk about sleep. I had no idea. They said, can you please talk on sleep and health? I said, sure, it's Eli Lilly. It's prestigious. I'll go. It's right down here. And I thought this is a 45-minute PowerPoint educating their employees about sleep health. It turns out that it wasn't. It was a 12-minute TEDx style talk, exactly how it rolls. And I had 11 minutes and 6 slides. I said, what are you talking about? This is hard. So you want me to compress my 20, almost 18 years at the time of experience and knowledge into 11 minutes and 6 slides? Like, that's how it rolls. I said, oh God. So it took a lot, and it really forced me to distill so much of this down. And that's how part of this also started. And that talk was called, What Would You Do for 13.5 Million? And if you have a chance, you can drop the link for your listeners. It's actually interesting.
Absolutely.
I look back at it and I said, wow, that was pretty clever of me. I was like wagging my tail, because I took the challenge on compressing that into 11 minutes.
Wonderful. You mentioned that you're the medical director of the Indiana Sleep Center. What does that entail for you?
Yeah, so the Indiana Sleep Center is an accredited sleep center where we have sleep rooms. It's like a hotel room. I wish I could give you a tour. You can drop the link. Actually, there are some rooms that people can see what a sleep center looks like. Mm-hmm. It looks like a hotel room with comfortable lighting, bedding, and where we study patients. Patients spend a night here typically from about 8, 9 p.m. to about 6 a.m. the next day.
For a level 2 sleep or level 3 sleep study, right? polysomnambulia.
So yes, polysomnography, correct. So
Polysomnography.
you're familiar with this. So it's called level one polysomnography
Okay.
because the level threes, the higher the level, the less and less data collection starts to happen. And level ones are everything. So you have about 12 wires on your head. You have four on your face.
Hmm.
You have a couple belts. You have a clip. We are measuring breathing. We are measuring brain waves. We are measuring sleep interruptions. We're measuring oxygen levels, heart rate, body movements, position, and basically the quality of your sleep.
Hmm.
How well is Vaibhav sleeping in terms of sleep cycling, breathing, and can those findings explain what he's experiencing in the day? So we measure this, and that's the sleep center. There are lots of sleep disorders. There are over 70 sleep disorders, by the way, for those who don't know. Over 70 sleep disorders that are bona fide and have diagnosis codes for. So, yeah, we go through that, and then the patient meets us. We explain results and offer treatments based on those findings.
I had a level 2 sleep study done at home, so it came up with mild sleep apnea for me.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. And sleep apnea is kind of a dangerous thing. So now that you know, you're more aware. So you're going to watch what you eat. You'll make sure how you're sleeping well. So it pushes that health aspect into you, right? So
Yeah.
if I give you like a washing machine and it's going to sort of wash your clothes and dry them, and I keep opening and shutting the door while it's running, it's not going to do well, is it?
No.
That's what poor sleep does to your health. It leaves the clothes not clean and wet. So that's how you should look at poor sleep chronically, night after night after night. You'll hurt your health overall. So I'm glad you got that study. I'm glad you're doing something about it.
Thank you. I've lost a lot of weight around it.
Yeah, it did. It made you think, didn't it? It made you look up stuff. It made you see. And I'm guessing you're feeling a little better than you did from
Yeah,
before.
slightly better, definitely.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you also work with the Indiana Pacers. How did that come about? Like, how did you get to work with an NBA team?
So again, they are the local NBA team. Wonderful, wonderful organization, the Indiana Pacers. And how that happened was, everyone needs sleep, right? And look at these elite athletes. So elite athletes, in fact, need a little more because they push their bodies much more than you and I will.
Yeah.
So you've heard of LeBron James, you've heard of Roger Federer, you've heard of Rafa Nadal, all these footballers across the world. They all have started talking about how recovery, injury, and performance, three things, right? It matters to an athlete. So elite level of performance, less, let's say, inaccuracies in whatever sport they're doing, right? They want to be in good form, less mistakes on the court or the field, and less injuries and faster recovery times for the next game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The NBA has 82 games in a season, 82. And 41 games are away from home, 41 games are at home. So they're traveling all the time. They're losing sleep in aircrafts. Games are late. They miss a shot or two, the game is lost because every team is so good. So they started paying attention to this as almost a performance enhancing intervention because they have the best coaches, they have the best facilities, they have the best of everything, bodies, right? Physiques, trainers. But how can they get better than the other team in terms of edge, right? So that's how they started reaching out, and now it's a formal relationship. And it's wonderful. I say, I look at this example, like name your favorite player, like, cricketer, like pick your favorite, like Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, they are at the peaks of their game. But do they have a coach? Oh yeah, they have many coaches, right? LeBron James, does he have a coach? Of course. Roger Federer, does he have a coach? Yes, he does. And they're at the peak of their game. Why can't us, normal people, everyday people, like your podcast says, have a coach to do better, right? In terms of health, nutrition, and food and sleep. So, and that's where that angle comes in. And if they can get coached to get better than, and they're already at such a high, why can't we get coached to sleep better?
And so, wonderful segue into me asking you, for the listeners, what would you share as your top 3 pieces of advice for sleeping better?
Yes, sleeping better. So first of all, even recognizing it, I say ASAP, MSAP, right? ASAP, MSAP. So what does that mean? So as soon as possible, MSAP, make sleep a priority, right? So that's the first thing. Second one, sleep is a rhythm. Just like going to the gym, you can't build muscles in 2 nights or two visits to the gym. You can't lose weight by, letting go of one chole bhature or one, or one sweet item for 1 week, right? So consistency and rhythmicity is key. The body loves structure. So start preparing for it as a priority, and repeat that rhythm. Find what works for you. And the basics are pretty simple. Stimulation reduction around the evenings is very important. Giving your mind some wind down. So it's like saying you can't shut the engine off and start working on it. You have to let the engine cool down a little bit before you wanted to, in a car, right? If you wanted to work on it. So that's that. And the third one is, if you wake up consistently and you feel, man, I'm exhausted, I don't feel great, then say something to your doctors about it. Don't try and self-medicate and Google this stuff, because it's a third of your life, right?
Right.
So seek a professional opinion if you feel that your sleep is not restorative and refreshing consistently.
Fantastic.
So that's I would say. Three things.
Wonderful. My last question to you in the formal portion of this interview is, if you'd like to speak directly to the audience, what would you ask them to do? Now, this is where you can promote your book, of course, but also I would love for you to talk about either a movie that you've seen recently or a book that you've read recently, not your own, or a quote that sticks with you.
Yes, I love it. So I go to the quote I use a lot, and I love that. It's, if sleep didn't serve a very vital function, then it's nature's biggest mistake.
Wow. Okay.
And that means, it was a 1975 quote, because think about it. Nature, what does nature tell you to do? If we believe in the Darwinian evolution, what does it tell you to do? It tells Weber, don't die, right? So survive.
Mm-hmm.
Weber, gather food. Weber, make more of your own. So basically, nature is telling you these three things. Every animal, every living creature is trying to basically do these three things.
Yeah.
Correct? So not get killed, gather food, make more of your own. Okay. When you're sleeping,
You're vulnerable.
do you think you can? Correct. You can't do any of those three.
Right.
You truly can't make more of your own. You can't gather food. You can get eaten many times over. So why does nature have this almost counterintuitive activity planted every day of your life? And it seems very opposite to nature's rules. So therefore, it must be doing something to support the evolutionary process. And that's how you got to think about it, as fundamentally. That's my favorite quote from Alan Rechtschaffen from Chicago, 1975. They started figuring this out then. Favorite movie that I've seen? I'm a sucker for our Indian movies, Bollywood movies. Nothing makes me chuckle more than that. However, the most recent one that I've seen is Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, because I have an 11-year-old. Fantastic production. I sat through, my wife and I just sat, and we had a date night. We were talking about other things while the movie was playing. And credit to Taylor Swift, the artist. She's doing her thing, and she's at least being a decent role model for the kids this time. So that's the recent most movie we've watched. I did go see Pathan in the theaters recently, and I did see the movie Tiger. Is it the Rajni movie? What's it called? I'm sorry. In which his name is Tiger.
I'm not aware, actually. I'm sorry. But okay,
that was
the
a great
Rajnikant
entertaining
movie.
movie.
Rajnikant movie.
Yes.
Noted. So this is where we now also, I would love for you to talk about your book. If you had a pitch,
Yes.
for the audience to go buy it.
Correct. So yes, it's called Sleep to Heal. It's available on Amazon India. So if you go to Amazon India, you can find it. And I love the book. It's really come out well. Charlotte Jensen, my wonderful co-author, and myself, we sat down and we wrote it. And it's fun. If you find it boring and you fall asleep, I've had a patient who asked me, what if I read it and it's so boring that I fell asleep? I said, wonderful, I win. Because that's the whole point, that you're not stuck to a screen and watching it. And if you didn't fall asleep and you learned something, then you end up learning something. So both ways, I can't lose. So, and then he laughed. And that's how that book is marketed as well. It's just to educate you and make you appreciate and enjoy and learn to sleep better. You can go to sleepvigilante.com. That's my little website. So you can learn and hear a little more about me, just to start a website. And you can find the book there as well through it.
Wonderful.
So thank
And the
you.
book is linked.
I'd love to hear feedback.
Sorry. And the book is also linked in the podcast description if you're listening now, or if you're watching
Yeah.
this on YouTube, it's in the description of the video. So, thank you so much, Dr. Abhinav. This is the end of our formal portion of our interview. Now I can relax a little bit and I can just chat with you for a few minutes before
Yes.
we conclude.
Yes, of course, of course. Thank you, Vaibhav. I appreciate you doing this, and thank you for, to get into the middle of the day and get this done. So thank you. It works out well for me as well.
And thank you for sparing your lunchtime. I'm sure I don't want to hold you too much longer. Oh, there's a Batman symbol.
No, no,
on
you're
it.
fine. I'm a big Batman fan. That's why the Sleep Vigilante nickname comes from, because I was giving that Lily X TEDx talk, right? So
Right.
I got introduced as, because, oh, he's talking about sleep. It's all about the dark night. And we talk about darkness, stimulation less, quiet. So it's like, okay, he is and I love Batman. People knew that. So my car license plate has a Batman logo, and my assistants gifted me that for Christmas. And it has that magic of you can change colors and things like that. Yeah. So,
Nice.
and he does work. All his work is in the night anyway.
I was about to ask you about the sleep vigilante name, and you've not told me, because it's a very interesting. Like, you don't hear somebody use that word very often, vigilante. It's. I found it because I went to your website before this interview. I looked through it, and then I went to your Instagram, looked through it. I saw that you did another podcast recently. So you're a busy man,
Yeah.
sir, and you're a very charismatic man
I
as well.
try. Oh, well, thank you. I try. I try. It's just like I said, 360 degrees. I'm going to do this till even if I stop working. This is forever because. So I'll tell you my fun quote, right? Another quote that is two quotes. No one sleeps better by trying harder. So if you are really struggling to sleep and you start to struggle more, you'll get worse by trying harder, staring at the clock, staring at the ceiling, and all that. That's one quote. In the insomnia world, if you start to suffer from insomnia, nobody sleeps better trying harder. And second, another one of my favorite experiential quotes is that, having had the privilege of helping so many people sleep better, not one has come back and told me that, Dr. Singh, I'm sleeping so much better because of what you did, and I hate you for that. I want my old sleep back. No one, right? So
Right.
and that's the joy in the field, that people will be on medicines and surgeries, and they say, oh my God, why did I get this surgery? It's hurt so much, and these complications, and I should have lived with my back pain or my knee pain or whatever, right? But not one has come back to me and said, oh my God, I'm sleeping better, and I'm so disappointed, and I'm so sad because of it. So that's one joy that I know keeps me driving.
Are you also a surgeon? Do you also do the sort of septum surgeries and all that?
No, so I'm an internal medicine, general medicine guy who went into sleep specialty training. So sleep specialists can be of different flavors. They could be a general medicine, GMed, like we call in India, like a physician guy. You can have ENT surgeons also dabble into the sleep world. They do septal corrections. They do some tonsils for kids. They remove them so they breathe better. My daughter, in fact, had her tonsils out. She was beginning to snore and have apneas at night. She was waking up. She's 11. She's, 60, 70 pounds. She's 20, 30, 40 kilos. Not heavy at all, but it was all her tonsils. So the ENT took the tonsils out. She's sleeping so much better, behaving so much better. So, and then you have psychiatrists who will also do sleep. You'll have neurologists who will also do sleep. You'll have pulmonologists who do sleep apnea and snoring management who will do sleep. And then you'll have the GMed guys who will do all of it. So the sleep training is a new specialty, super specialty they call it, whereby they teach you elements of all of these specialties. So we work with surgeons, and they help us manage the airway, basically.
Wonderful. What are you looking forward to in the next few years as you continue to work on this?
I want folks like you and me to have more conversations. And, motherland is India. And I want this to become something that people take seriously in India. And that's what I want to sort of engage in a give back scenario, that how many can we help? How many can we improve the health of? Because remember, healthcare access is poorer in India, right? In terms of awareness and access and resources. So anybody can have access to better sleep. Everybody should have access to better sleep. And that's what my eventual, pipe dream would be, that everybody is aware in India. Every physician knows what to do with it. Nobody's, everybody's clear, and they include it in the part of your general health history taking, rather than you complaining or your spouse saying, "Hey, Vaibhav, you're snoring," or "Hey, Abhinav, you're snoring so much." Go. It should happen from the physician you see for your primary care checkup. Like, okay, you're here. Let's tell me about this. It should become a natural, like how you get screening for colonoscopy, mammograms, blood tests, cholesterol, sugar. It should become a conversation. That's what I hope and pray. Before I die, it's become normal
Well, I mean,
to do
I
that.
can at least tell you that my psychiatrist always asks me about my sleep, and my therapist as well. So there
Yeah,
are doctors
I
asking
love
about it.
that. I love that. And you're in Bangalore, I'm going to guess?
Yes.
Yes. So Bangalore is like, the, I want to call it, you pick the Austin of India, or, the hub, the forward moving, progressive, hub. But in addition to that, and I'm very proud of that, and at the same time, I'd love for other cities to catch up and people to really follow suit and do that. So I'm glad they do, and tell them, hey, the sleep dog gave you guys a high five. Well done. and
I'll
and
let
not
them know.
any sleep doc, not any sleep doc. Yeah, this just so he was also the top. He was a nominated top sleep doc from the US. Has given you both both a high five.
I'll let them
My
know
my
as soon as I
assistants
can.
love that. My assistants love those billboards.
Well, Dr. Abhinav, this has been an absolute pleasure for me. I hope it's been fun for you at least. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. Just wanted to conclude this. Anything you'd like to say in conclusion?
No, thank you for taking the time, and keep spreading the good word. Like I say, everybody can sleep a little better. Everyone can sleep a little better, and they should, and keep trying to. So, no, thank you. I'll get back to work. I'll let you get to sleep. I know it's late for you in India. It's about 12:47 here. And wonderful. Keep doing what you're doing. I'll be so excited to see how this turns out when you upload it. Do share a link with
Thank you.
me.